Why do people from Baltimore talk so differently? And how strange is my Spanish accent? If you are struggling with your Spanish accent, this video is perfect for you. And of course, I have some tips and tricks. So just a little bit about me. I am from Baltimore, but I've been living in California for about 6 years. So what's the real issue? Why do we pronounce words the way that we do? It's the T's, baby. We don't like them. We don't like to be crossed. We don't like the T's. We do, however, like D's better.
Throw some D's on that bitch.
But it's not actually a D sound that we're making. It sounds that way to others when they hear us speak, but it's actually called a tap. You can hear this tap in words like butter, ladder, city, pretty. However, a lot of times we wouldn't say pretty, we would say pretty, right? We would say city, or we would say butter. And so it sounds like the D, but it's actually the tap in the way that we're saying a softer T. So here's some examples of words that we get criticized for. Why are they speaking that way? Why did they? I'm sorry, guys. This video is so funny to me. I have to laugh. I just have to laugh. But one of those words is tomorrow, okay? A lot of people from Baltimore wouldn't say tomorrow. It's one of those words that we just cut a little short and we'll just say tomorrow. You know, I'll be around there tomorrow. I'm coming tomorrow. We know that it's tomorrow, okay? It's just like, I don't know. It's just something that we do. We have words that we cut short. And I'm sure you just heard me say do. I'm going to get into why we say do and to the way that we say it as well. Some other words that we say a lot differently, and you will really hear the tap sound in these words, are water. We would say water. Can I have a cup of water? We just not about that tea life. I don't know what to tell you. We don't really like TH either, which is why we would say father. We would say father. Yeah, I'm about to meet my father. That's my father right there.
Mother, father, damn.
Funny enough, I get asked about my Spanish accents all the time. And there are letters that they don't like in Spanish as well. Like TH. They don't really have they don't really have that TH sound that you have to push your tongue against your teeth. Which actually gives me a little advantage because I have no problem pronouncing mostly all of the words in Spanish. So remember I told you we would talk about those to's and do's that are so famous? Okay, we don't like T's, but we do like W's, okay? And there's this way that we drag out 2-letter words. If it's 2 letters, we feel like that's not enough of a word. And so we kind of just add a W on the end. The sound of a W. I don't even know if I can say do. What am I about to do? Yeah, I don't know if I can say it without saying like do. I don't know. I struggle. Now, where do my Spanish accents sound a little weird? Yeah, it's going to be with the two. However, it's never been a moment that I asked someone or I was speaking to someone in Spanish and I said, "Tu hablas?" that they said like, "Oh, what? I don't understand. Tu hablas? ¿Qué es eso?" I have never experienced that. Why do people from Baltimore talk this way? So Maryland was originally an English colony, and the first English spoken there came from England. In the 1800s, Baltimore became one of the biggest ports in the United States. Germans at that time in the early 1800s were the biggest group to migrate to Maryland. Because of the Italian immigration in the late 1800s, it's actually why we have Little Italy. And we were one of the first states to have a Little Italy. I know it's a lot of them around now. At that time, we also had Eastern Europe and all kinds of other cultures and races that came and migrated. So when this immigration process took effect, we actually picked up a lot of other ways that other people were speaking. And in some of those languages, the T is not so strong. If you are enjoying this video, before I get into the second part, make sure that you hit like and subscribe so you'll never miss fun content like this. So Spanish have accents as well. It's not a new thing to have an accent. It's not a new thing to sound differently than other people that even live in your country. So let's talk about a few of the Spanish-speaking countries. Mexico, por ejemplo, is a country that speaks more clearly, more slower than some of the other countries. Spain has been known to have a lips sound. Some of the words that they say, some of the letters that they pronounce a little differently. Argentina, they love the SH sound, which doesn't even hardly exist in Spanish. They've picked up this SH and they've replaced that with the Spanish Y sound or the Spanish double L sound. So that probably sounds strange to other people who speak Spanish. Now, Caribbean Spanish is something totally different, okay? They like a lot of shortcuts and they don't really mess with that S like that. They not about that S life. A lot of times in the Caribbean countries, they just drop the S altogether. So if the S is supposed to be at the end of the word, they ain't got time. How Puerto Rico will shorten a word in a minute. They don't have time for para, okay? It's pa and that's that. In Chile, they speak so fast. And part of their speaking is a lot of slang. And they've also made up a whole bunch of words that they just made up in that Spanish and that's that. In Colombia, honey, depending on the parts, some Spanish in Colombia is clear and very easy to understand, like in Medellin. Pero some Spanish in Colombia is like insanely fast.
Mire, usted me preguntó una cosa súper diferente a lo que estamos hablando.
So many places have accents and it's okay. It's who you are. It's where you're from. Own it. Love it. It is a little piece of this world of you. If you ever want to speak with different teachers with different accents, I have an entire Speaking Spanish community club and we have 4 different plans. So if you're not ready to speak, we still have many resources to help you learn Spanish. The link is in the description. So instead of trying to change who you are or trying to change your natural accents, don't focus on that. Instead, focus on learning and understanding the sounds of Spanish. My Spanish accent is actually all right. Like, I get complimented on my accent all the time from natives. I didn't try to bring the English alphabets into the Spanish alphabets, which they pretty much share the same alphabets, but the sounds are so different. So when I started learning Spanish, I made sure to sound out the sounds the way that they say them. So your goals should be simple. Pronounce the Spanish vowels correctly, learn the alphabet, roll those R's when possible, understand the rhythm of the language, and be understandable. You have to make sure that your Spanish accent is good enough that they can actually understand you. Every Spanish-speaking country sounds different, and every English-speaking country sounds different. I just want to learn Spanish and be understood. That was always my goal, and guess what? I accomplished it. Tell me in the comments where you're from and maybe something that you say differently in your city. If you want to learn more about the Spanish sounds, check one of these videos out over here. Nos vemos pronto. Ciao.